Hi guys, it's Mrs. Kelley again, along with my friend Rowlf.
Hey everybody!
And we are here to read the next book in Mary Pope Osborne's Magic Treehouse series, book number 20, Dingoes at Dinnertime. So Rowlf, I'm a first grade teacher, and because of things happening right now, we can't be together, my students and I, and this school year we have read all the books up until this one, and so I wanted to continue that with them, and I'm glad that you joined me. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I like being here.
So this book is called Dingoes at Dinnertime, and one of my students always reminds me that when we start a new book, it's a good idea to read the hook on the back. The hook is what will kind of draw you into the book and see if you really want to read it. So here's the hook. It says, wildfire. That's what Jack and Annie are up against when they are whisked away to the land of Australia. And they're not alone. Jack and Annie must help a baby kangaroo and a koala escape from a fire-filled forest. Will they be able to rescue the animals in time? You'll find out when you read Magic Treehouse number 20, Dingoes at Dinnertime. So we're going to read this one, but before I get started, you know, Rowlf, this book kind of mirrors real life a little bit because not that long ago, Australia did have really horrible, devastating wildfires throughout the whole country. Do you remember hearing about that? Yeah. So very sad. So many animals lost their lives and people came together to help, and it just was a real tragedy. So we're going to read this story and see what happens with Jack and Annie on their adventure. Yeah, so this is being book number 20. This book starts with a prologue. A prologue kind of gives the reader a history of what's happened so far. And I know you weren't with us to hear the first 18 books. And so this can kind of give you some information on Jack and Annie and who they are and what they're doing. Here we go. Prologue. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse. They found that it was filled with books. Jack and Annie soon discovered that the treehouse was magic. It could take them to all the places in the books. All they had to do was point to a picture and wish to go there. Along the way, Jack and Annie discovered that the treehouse belonged to Morgan Le Fay. Morgan is a magical librarian from the time of King Arthur. She travels through time and space, gathering books. In Magic Treehouse books 5 through 8, Jack and Annie helped free Morgan from a spell. In books 9 through 12, they solved 4 ancient riddles and became master librarians. In Magic Treehouse books 13 through 16, Jack and Annie had to save 4 ancient stories from being lost forever. In Magic Treehouse books 17 through 20, Jack and Annie must be given 4 special things to help free an enchanted dog from a spell. They have already received a gift on a trip to the Titanic, a gift from the Lakota Indians, and a gift from a forest in India. Now they are about to set out in search of their last gift. Does that sound like a good thing to read?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, chapter 1 is called The Last Gift. Annie sat on the porch steps. She stared down the street at the Frog Creek woods. "Hey, Jack," she said. "Do you hear it?" Jack sat next to her. He was reading a book. "Hear what?" he said. "Teddy's calling us," said Annie. "You're kidding," said Jack. But he looked down the street and listened too. A faint bark came from the distance. "Arf, arf!"
Arf, arf!
A big smile crossed Jack's face. "You hear it," said Annie. "Yep," said Jack. "You're right, time to go." He stood up and grabbed his backpack. "Be back soon," Annie shouted through the screen door. "Don't be late for dinner," their dad called. "We won't," said Jack. He and Annie ran down the street and into the Frog Creek woods. Soon they came to the tallest oak. There was the magic treehouse. A little black nose stuck out the window. "Hi, silly," called Annie. "We're coming." "Arf!" came a happy bark. Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing. Jack followed her up into the treehouse. A small dog sat in a circle of the afternoon sunshine. His tail wagged. "Hey, Teddy," said Jack. Jack and Annie hugged Teddy, and the dog licked them both. "Don't lick me."
I don't have a tongue.
"Morgan's note is still here," said Annie. "Yep," said Jack. He knew the note by heart now. This little dog is under a spell and needs your help. To free him, you must be given 4 special things. A gift from a ship lost at sea, A gift from the prairie blue, a gift from a forest far away, and a gift from a kangaroo. Be wise, be brave, be careful, said Morgan. Beside the note were the gifts from their first 3 trips, a pocket watch from the Titanic, an eagle's feather from the prairie skies, and a lotus flower from a forest in India. We just need to get a gift from a kangaroo, said Annie, and Teddy will be free from his spell. We must be going to Australia, said Jack. That's where kangaroos live. Cool, said Annie. Teddy whined and scratched at a book lying in the corner. Jack picked it up. What did I tell you? He said. He showed the cover to Annie. The title was Adventure in Australia. Have you ever been to Australia, Rowlf?
Yep.
Oh, very cool.
Down under, mate.
Yes. Great, said Annie. She looked at Teddy. Ready to meet a kangaroo? Arf, arf.
Arf, arf.
Jack opened the book. He found a page with a small picture of different animals and a big picture of a forest. Jack pointed to the forest. I wish we could go there, he said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster, and then everything was still. Absolutely still. All right, that's the end of chapter 1.
What?
Yeah, they go quick. It's a good story.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 2 is called Sleepyhead. Jack opened his eyes. Glaring hot sun flooded into the treehouse. Neat hats, said Annie. She and Jack were both wearing hats. I think they will protect us from the sun, said Jack. He and Annie looked out the window. Teddy looked out too. The treehouse had landed in a scrubby forest filled with droopy plants and dry brown trees. Man, this place needs rain, said Jack. He sat back on his heels and looked at the picture of where they had landed in the Australia book. He read, Australia's forests go through times of drought. A drought is a long period of time without any rain. The same forest can be flooded by heavy rains at other times in the year. Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, Drought equals no rain. Hey, Jack, said Annie. Doesn't it smell like a cookout? Jack sniffed the air. It did smell like a cookout. Jack looked out the window. A wisp of smoke floated above some of the trees in the distance. Maybe people are camping over there, said Jack. Let's go see, said Annie. Jack put his notebook and the Australia book into his backpack. Put Teddy in there too, said Annie. Jack slipped the little dog into the pack, and then he followed Annie down the ladder. When they stepped onto the ground, the hot wind nearly blew their hats off. The campers must be over there, said Annie. Then here's a picture. Do you still see, Rowlf?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. She pointed at the smoke in the blue sky. They started walking across a sun-baked clearing. They passed bushes and scrawny trees. Lizards ran over the dry, cracked ground. Arf, arf!
Arf, arf.
Teddy barked from Jack's pack. Whoa, said Teddy. A pair of huge, funny-looking birds walked out from behind a bush. They were taller than Jack. They had fat bodies, long, skinny legs, and long, skinny necks. Who are you? Annie asked the strange pair. Jack opened his pack and took out the Australia book. He found a picture of the birds. They're emus, he said. He read aloud. The emu is a large bird that doesn't fly. It can run as fast as 30 miles per hour. Wow, that's fast, said Annie. Arf!
Arf.
Teddy jumped out of Jack's backpack and barked at the strange birds. The emus gave the little dog a haughty look, and they turned and walked proudly away. Jack wrote in his notebook, Emus, proud birds, don't fly. Look, a live teddy bear, said Annie. Jack looked up. Annie ran to a tree at the edge of the clearing. The live teddy bear was nestled in the fork of a tree. Oh, it's so cute, whispered Annie. The creature was fast asleep. He had large, round ears, a black nose, and a furry body. His feet had long, curved claws. It's a koala bear, said Jack. Hi, Sleepyhead, said Annie to the koala. She patted his soft fur. He opened his big eyes and looked calmly at her. Jack found a picture of a koala in the Australia book. He read, "The koala is actually not a bear at all. It's a marsupial, like a kangaroo. A marsupial's mother carries her babies in a stomach pouch." "That's neat," said Annie. Jack kept reading. "Koalas mostly eat leaves of gum trees, so cutting down gum trees to clear land has hurt them. Wildfires are also a threat. Koalas are slow-moving and can't escape the smoke and flames." Jack pulled out his notebook and wrote, "Wildfires are a threat to koalas." "What's wrong, Sleepyhead?" Annie asked. "Don't you feel well?" "Don't worry," said Jack. "Listen to this." And he read more from the book. "Koalas, like kangaroos, are active at night and sleep during the day when the sun is hot. The name koala means to drink because koalas rarely drink water. They get moisture from the leaves they eat." Jack licked his lips. His mouth felt dry. "Speaking of water, I'm thirsty." "Me too," said Annie. Teddy was panting as if he were thirsty also. "Let's find those campers," said Jack, sighing. "Maybe they can give us some water." Jack put Teddy back into his pack. He tucked the book under his arm in case he needed to look something up. They began walking again. Suddenly there was a loud, harsh crackle. "Yikes," said Annie. "What was that?" said Jack. That's the end of that chapter.
No.
I know, I told you, Mary Pope Osborne does it every time. She leaves or ends the chapter with like a cliffhanger. You really want to know what's going to happen next. Well, the next chapter, chapter 3, is called Bigfoot. I think that tomorrow we will read chapter 3 and 4 to find out what happens with Jack and Annie. Rowlf, do you have any predictions or anything that you want to share about the book?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, very good. Well, boys and girls, we're going to head out for now. Rowlf and I will be back tomorrow to read chapter 3 and 4 of Mary Pope Osborne's Dingoes at Dinnertime, Magic Treehouse number 20. So we'll see you soon.
Bye,
loves.